The vast emptiness of space lit up as the Xeraxian scout ship entered Earth's solar system. Commander Vecthar stood tall, his blue-gray skin reflecting the glow of the control panels. His six-fingered hand moved across the display, zooming in on the small blue planet. "Another water world," he said with a dismissive wave. "Class 3 at best." His science officer, Relker, nodded in agreement. "Preliminary scans show primitive technology. They've barely left their own atmosphere." The Xeraxian Empire had conquered hundreds of worlds across the galaxy. Earth was just another dot on their map of expansion. What made this planet different was the unusual amount of water. Oceans covered more than 2/3 of its surface. "Those empty blue spaces will make our work easier," Vecthar said. "We can establish bases in these deep areas without the natives ever knowing we're here." 5,000 miles away, in a NASA listening station in Alaska, Dr. Alan Murphy spilled his coffee as strange signals appeared on his monitor. He had been tracking unusual patterns for weeks now, but this was different. This was structured, almost like a language. Alan picked up his phone and called the one person he knew would believe him. "Kate, it's Alan. I think you need to see this." Lieutenant Kate Johnson arrived at the station 6 hours later. Her Navy uniform was wrinkled from the long flight, but her eyes were sharp as she studied the signal patterns. "This isn't Russian," she said, "and it's not Chinese either." "That's what I've been trying to tell my supervisors," Alan said, running a hand through his messy brown hair. "Whatever this is, it's not from Earth." Kate frowned. "Where is it coming from?" Alan pointed to a map on his computer screen. "That's the strange part. It's coming from the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean." Meanwhile, the Xeraxian scout ship hovered above the Pacific Ocean. Under the cover of night, a smaller vessel detached and plunged into the dark waters. It descended rapidly, pressure building against its reinforced hull as it sank deeper than any human vessel had ever gone. "Outpost location secured," reported the pilot. "Beginning construction of Theta 9. Over the next week, the Xeraxians built their research station in the crushing depths of the trench. Their engineers worked quickly, establishing a base from which they could study Earth without detection. "The natives will never find us here," Vecthar said as he toured the completed facility. "Their primitive submarines would be crushed long before reaching this depth." What the aliens didn't understand was that Earth's oceans were not the empty, lifeless spaces they appeared to be from orbit. They were teeming with life, much of it still unknown even to humans. On the third day after the base was completed, a Xeraxian researcher went missing during a sample collection mission. The only evidence of what happened was a massive dent in the outer airlock door and strange marks that looked like teeth. "Impossible," Relker said as he examined the damage. "No life form could survive the pressure at this depth, let alone possess jaws strong enough to do this." Up on the surface, the fishing vessel Northern Star rocked in the waves above the Mariana Trench. Captain Greg Peterson checked his sonar equipment again, confused by the readings. "Lisa, come look at this," he called to the ship's marine biologist. Dr. Lisa Wright leaned over his shoulder, her brow furrowing as she studied the screen. "That can't be right. There's something down there that's moving, and it's massive. Could it be a whale?" Greg asked. Lisa shook her head. "No whale dives that deep. Whatever it is, it shouldn't exist." As night fell over the Pacific, both humans and aliens were unaware that they were about to learn a terrifying truth. Earth's oceans held secrets darker and more dangerous than either species could imagine, and something ancient had just been disturbed from its slumber. Back in his Alaska station, Alan Murphy plotted the strange signals on a map and noticed they were moving. Something was happening in the deepest part of the ocean, and he was determined to find out what. "Kate," he said into his phone, "I think we need to get a submarine down there." Relker stood before Commander Vecthar, his normally steady hands trembling slightly. Another researcher had vanished during the night shift. That made 3 missing in just 1 week. "The bite marks on the outer doors are larger this time," Relker said, showing images on his tablet. Whatever is out there is growing bolder. Vekthar's eyes narrowed. Impossible. Our scans showed nothing could survive at these depths. Our scans were wrong. Relkir replied simply. This planet's oceans contain life forms we've never seen before. Above them, on the choppy surface of the Pacific, the Northern Star rocked in the growing waves. Greg Peterson frowned at his sonar equipment, which had been acting strangely for days now. The screen showed shadows where there should be none, moving in patterns that made no sense. Lisa Wright joined him at the controls, her face pale in the blue light of the monitor. The water samples are strange, she said. I'm finding metal particles that don't match any known element on Earth. Greg looked up at her. What are you saying? I'm not sure, Lisa admitted, but whatever is happening down there isn't natural. The ship's radio crackled to life. Other fishing vessels in the area reported equipment failures, strange noises, and massive shadows passing beneath their hulls. Something was disturbing the entire region. At NASA, Alan Murphy hadn't slept in 36 hours. The signals from the Mariana Trench had changed, becoming more frequent and complex. He'd mapped them across a timeline and noticed a pattern. They're searching for something, he told Kate when she arrived with coffee and sandwiches. The signals move in a grid pattern, like they're hunting. Kate set down the food and studied his work. Her Navy training told her one thing. This was not a natural phenomenon. We need to get eyes down there, she said. Real eyes, not just sonar. Alan nodded. I've called in a favor. Sam Baker is bringing his deep-sea research submarine. It can go deeper than anything else we have access to. Deep in the trench, the Ziraxians were reaching the same conclusion. They needed to see what was hunting them. Vekthar authorized a special team to venture outside the base in reinforced suits. They carried weapons designed specifically for underwater combat, harpoon guns that fired plasma-tipped spears. Record everything, Vekthar ordered as the team prepared to exit through the airlock. The Empire needs to know what we're facing. The team of 4 Ziraxian soldiers moved cautiously into the dark water. Their helmet lights cut through the blackness, revealing a landscape more alien than many planets they had conquered. Strange creatures scuttled away from the light. Translucent fish with needle-like teeth, squid with glowing skin, and crustaceans with armor thicker than Ziraxian battleplate. This planet has more oceanic biodiversity than 12 of our controlled worlds combined, the team leader reported back. Wait. Movement at 3 o'clock. Something big. The transmission cut off with a scream. The camera feed showed a blur of movement, then static. None of the team returned to base. On the surface, Sam Baker arrived with his specialized submarine, the Abyss Diver. It was small but built to withstand the crushing pressure of the deep ocean. We can go down to about 35,000 feet, he explained to Alan and Kate as they loaded equipment. Not quite to the bottom of the trench, but close enough to see what's going on. What none of them realized was that the Ziraxians had set up detection grids. The moment the Abyss Diver began its descent, alarms blared inside the alien base. Human vessel approaching, a technician reported to Vekthar. Projected course will bring it within visual range of the base. Vekthar pounded his fist on the console. Impossible. Their technology shouldn't allow this. Should we destroy it? Relkir asked. Vekthar hesitated. No, the Empire protocol is clear. No contact with natives unless absolutely necessary. Power down all non-essential systems. We will observe them silently. As the Abyss Diver descended into the crushing darkness, its lights illuminated things no human had ever seen before. Sam carefully photographed everything, unaware that his cameras had captured the edge of a structure that didn't belong in Earth's oceans. And in the darkness beyond the submarine's lights, something massive and ancient watched them all. Commander Vekthar stood before the main communication screen, his posture stiff as he reported to the Imperial Council. The 7 elders of the Ziraxian Empire looked down at him with cold eyes. We have lost 12 personnel in 14 Earth days, Vekthar said. Something in these waters hunts our people. The head elder leaned forward. You classified this planet as Class 3, minimal threat. Explain this failure. The oceans, Vecthar said. We assumed they were empty spaces between landmasses. We were wrong. Earth's oceans are the most dangerous environment we have ever encountered. The Council murmured among themselves before reaching a decision. We will send reinforcements, special forces with enhanced weaponry. Earth must be properly assessed. As the communication ended, Relkir approached his commander. Sir, I've analyzed the attack patterns. Whatever hunts us isn't just strong. It's smart. It learns our routines. In the Abyss Diver, Sam Baker guided the small submarine deeper into the trench. Kate Johnson sat beside him, monitoring the sonar, while Alan Murphy operated the cameras. We're passing 20,000 feet, Sam said. Pressure is holding steady. Kate pointed to the sonar screen. There's something odd about these readings. See these smooth areas? Natural formations don't look like that. Alan swung the external camera toward the area she indicated. The lights pierced the darkness, revealing a glimpse of something metallic before it disappeared from view. Did you see that? Alan asked, his voice tight. That wasn't a rock. Sam began to turn the submarine, but Kate put a hand on his arm. Wait, look at the sonar again. There's something else down there, and it's moving. The shape on the screen was massive, circling below them at impossible speed for something so large. Then, without warning, it changed direction and moved straight toward them. Evasive maneuvers, Kate shouted. Sam yanked the controls, sending the submarine into a sharp turn. The vessel shuddered as something enormous brushed past them. Through the viewport, they caught a glimpse of skin as black as the deep ocean itself, covered in bioluminescent patterns that pulsed with blue light. What was that? Alan whispered. I don't know, Sam replied, his hands tight on the controls. But nothing that large should be able to survive at this depth. The Abyss Diver's external sensors recorded a pressure wave as the creature moved away, heading in the direction of the hidden Zeraxian base. Inside the alien facility, alarms began to blare. Motion detected. Large object approaching at high speed. A technician shouted. Vecthar watched the security feeds as the massive shape approached their base. It was at least 3 times longer than their facility. A colossal squid-like creature with tentacles that ended in what looked like hands. Activate defensive measures, Vecthar ordered. Energy weapons powered up around the base's perimeter, firing blue pulses into the water. The creature recoiled momentarily, then attacked with renewed fury. Its tentacles wrapped around one of the weapon emplacements and crushed it like paper. Sir, the special forces have arrived, Relkir reported as the base shook from another impact. A new Zeraxian ship descended through the water, larger and more heavily armed than any previous vessel. It opened fire on the creature, which turned and flowed into the darkness, leaving behind a cloud of inky black fluid. Captain Drenlock, leader of the Special Forces, strode into the command center. Commander Vecthar, the Imperial Council has ordered a full assessment of all oceanic life forms on this planet. Sir, with respect, we don't have the resources to. Resources are no longer a concern, Drenlock interrupted. This planet has been reclassified. Earth is now a Class 1 world. Extremely dangerous. Meanwhile, the Abyss Diver had retreated to a safer depth. The 3 humans sat in stunned silence, reviewing the footage they had captured. We need to report this, Kate said finally. Report what? Sam asked. A sea monster. Weird metal structures. They'll think we're crazy. Alan studied the images carefully. We need proof. Hard evidence. And there's only one way to get it. Kate knew what he was thinking. We have to go back down. Above them, on the northern star, Greg and Lisa were picking up unusual seismic readings from the ocean floor. It's like there's a war going on down there, Greg said. He had no idea how right he was. Captain Drenlock stood before his elite squad of Zeraxian soldiers. They wore specialized deep-sea combat suits, sleek and black with glowing blue lines marking their edges. Each soldier carried a weapon that looked like a cross between a harpoon and a laser rifle. "The creatures in this ocean have killed our people," Drenlock said. "Today, we hunt them back." Vekthar watched from the side, concerned. "Captain, we don't understand these life forms yet. Perhaps we should study them first." Drenlock laughed. "Study? The Empire doesn't study threats. We eliminate them." 5 ships left the Xeraxian base, each carrying 4 soldiers. They spread out across the ocean floor, hunting for the giant creature that had attacked them. Their orders were simple: find and kill anything that posed a threat. On the surface, strange reports began coming in from across the Pacific. Fishing boats found dead sea life floating in massive numbers. Whale watchers reported unusual migration patterns, with entire pods changing direction suddenly. Something was disturbing the natural order of the oceans. The Northern Star sailed through waters filled with dead fish. Greg Peterson looked over the side of his boat, his face grim. "I've never seen anything like this," he said to Lisa, who was collecting samples. Lisa dropped a thermometer into the water. "The temperature hasn't changed. This isn't natural die-off. Something is killing them." Greg's radio crackled. Other fishing boats were reporting the same thing across hundreds of miles of ocean. Whatever was happening was spreading. At a naval base in Hawaii, Kate Johnson presented the submarine footage to her superiors. The images showed glimpses of metallic structures and the massive creature that had nearly hit them. Admiral Harris frowned at the screen. "You're saying there's an unknown structure at the bottom of the Mariana Trench?" "Yes, sir," Kate replied, "and we believe it's not natural." "Are you suggesting it's man-made? Chinese or Russian?" Kate hesitated, then said what she knew sounded crazy. "No, sir, we don't think it's from Earth at all." There was a long silence before the Admiral spoke again. "Lieutenant Johnson, that's a serious claim." "I know, sir. That's why we need to go back down with more resources. Something is happening down there that could affect national security." After a long discussion, Admiral Harris agreed to provide a Navy submarine, the U.S. Bellerophon, for a follow-up mission. Meanwhile, beneath the waves, the Xeraxian hunting parties were encountering more than they had bargained for. The first team radioed in with panic in their voices. "We're under attack. Multiple creatures. They look like Earth sharks, but much larger. Our weapons aren't." The transmission cut off abruptly. The second team reported a swarm of what they described as electric eels, the size of transport ships, before they too went silent. In the command center, Vekthar received the reports with growing horror. "Call them back," he ordered. "Call all teams back now." "Sir," Relker said, voice shaking, "we've lost contact with 4 of the 5 teams." Drenlock pounded his fist on the console. "Impossible. Those were our best soldiers with our best weapons. This planet's oceans are unlike anything in our records," Vekthar said. "We need to inform the Council immediately." As Vekthar prepared his report, the final hunting team returned, their ship badly damaged. Only 1 soldier had survived. His combat suit was torn, and his eyes were wide with fear. "There's something down there," he gasped. "Something old. Something that was sleeping until we woke it up." "What did you see?" Drenlock demanded. "Eyes," the soldier whispered. "Dozens of eyes, bigger than our ships, and it was watching us. Learning. Waiting." Back on the surface, Alan Murphy was analyzing seismic data when he noticed a pattern. The disturbances weren't random. They were moving. And they were getting closer to the coastlines. "It's like something is driving sea life toward land," he told Sam as they prepared to join Kate on the U.S. Bellerophon. "Something is scaring even the predators." As the submarine prepared to dive, none of them realized they were about to face the ancient guardian of Earth's deepest places, a creature that had evolved in isolation for millions of years, undisturbed until now. The U.S. Bellerophon cut through the dark waters of the Pacific, diving deeper than any military submarine was meant to go. Inside, Kate Johnson stood behind the captain, watching the depth gauge with growing anxiety. 30,000 feet, the captain announced. "Hull integrity holding, but we're pushing the limits." Alan Murphy and Sam Baker huddled around a monitor, studying the sonar readings. The images showed something massive moving below them, something far larger than what they had seen before. "I'm counting multiple signatures," Sam said. "Not just one creature, but several." The captain's voice came over the intercom. "All personnel be advised. We are entering an unexplored zone. Stay alert." As the submarine descended further, its powerful lights revealed a landscape that seemed impossible. The ocean floor was marked with what looked like massive footprints, as if giants had walked there. Structures that resembled coral grew in geometric patterns too perfect to be natural. "Are you recording this?" Kate asked. "Every second," Alan replied, his eyes wide. Suddenly, the sonar operator called out, "Contact. Large object approaching from the east." Everyone turned to the viewport just as something massive swam into view. It looked like a cross between a squid and a whale, but its skin glowed with patterns of blue light. It was easily 3 times the length of the submarine. "My God," the captain whispered. The creature circled the submarine, studying it with eyes the size of car tires. It showed no fear, only curiosity. "It's intelligent," Sam said. "Look at how it's examining us." Before anyone could respond, the sonar operator shouted again. "More contacts. Lots more." And something else. Structured objects moving toward us. The Xeraxian combat ships appeared from the darkness, weapons charged. They fired at the giant creature, which recoiled in pain and released a cloud of black ink. "What the hell are those?" the captain demanded. "I don't think they're ours," Kate said quietly. More sea creatures appeared, massive sharks, squid, and other deep-sea life forms that shouldn't exist at that size. They attacked the Xeraxian ships with surprising coordination. The radio crackled to life with an unfamiliar voice speaking broken English. "Human vessel. Leave area now. Danger." Kate grabbed the radio. "Who is this? Identify yourself." There was a pause before the voice responded. "We are not from here. Go back. Save yourselves." A massive explosion rocked the water as one of the Xeraxian ships was destroyed. The shock wave hit the Bellerophon, sending it spinning. "We've lost power in Engine 2, an engineer reported. "We need to surface." "We can't," the captain replied. "We're too deep for an emergency ascent." As the submarine stabilized, they saw a Xeraxian ship coming toward them, trailing smoke from a damaged section. It moved alongside the Bellerophon and extended what looked like a docking tunnel. "They want to board us," Kate said. "Or they want our help," Alan suggested. After a tense discussion, the captain agreed to allow a single visitor. The airlock cycled, and a wounded Xeraxian officer stumbled into the submarine. The humans stared in shock at the alien being. Blue-gray skin, 6-fingered hands, and eyes that seemed to glow from within. "I am Sub-Commander Relker," the alien said in halting English. "Your world, your ocean, has awoken something ancient. Something we call Leviathans." "What are those creatures?" Sam asked. "Guardians," Relker replied. "They protect something deeper. We disturbed their territory. Now they hunt us all." On the screens, they watched as more Xeraxian ships were torn apart by the sea creatures. The largest of the creatures, the one they now knew as a Leviathan, seemed to be directing the others. "Why are you telling us this?" Kate asked. "Because we cannot fight them alone," Relker said. "And now, neither can you. We woke them. But you know these oceans. You evolved alongside these monsters. You must help us stop them." A loud bang echoed through the submarine as something massive struck the hull. "It seems," the captain said grimly, "that we don't have much choice." Above them, the Northern Star found itself in the middle of a feeding frenzy as thousands of deep-sea creatures rose to the surface, fleeing from something in the depths below. The command center of the U.S. Bellerophon had become an unlikely meeting place. Humans and as Araxians stood around a table, looking at maps of the ocean floor, Captain Harris of the submarine pointed to the Mariana Trench. "Your base is here?" he asked Relker. The alien nodded. His translator device, now working better after Alan had helped fix it, converted his clicks and whistles into English. "Yes, we thought the depth would hide us from your people." Kate leaned forward. "But you didn't count on the Leviathans." "We didn't know," Relker said. "Our scans showed life forms, but nothing of that size or intelligence. They must have been dormant, hiding in caves or deeper trenches." Sam studied the creature images they had captured. "These Leviathans, they're like nothing in our scientific records. How is that possible?" "The deep ocean remains largely unexplored," Alan said. "Humans have mapped more of Mars than our own ocean floors." Another boom shook the submarine. The Leviathans were still out there, circling, occasionally bumping the hull. "They're testing us," Relker said. "Learning our weaknesses." The radio crackled to life. It was Greg Peterson from the Northern Star. "Bellerophon, do you copy? Something strange is happening up here. The ocean is going crazy. Thousands of fish jumping out of the water. Whales beaching themselves. It's like they're terrified of something below." "The Leviathans are driving everything upward," Kate said. "Or something is driving even the Leviathans upward," Relker suggested, his alien features showing what might have been fear. In the Xeraxian base, Commander Vekthar received an encrypted message from the Imperial Council. His orders were clear: eliminate all humans with knowledge of the Xeraxians. Leave no witnesses. Recover Relker. Vekthar stared at the message for a long time. Throughout his career, he had never questioned orders, but he had also never faced a threat like the Leviathans, and he had never met a species that could potentially help his people survive. He deleted the message. "Prepare the sonic disruptor," he told Captain Drenlock. "We're going to help the humans." Drenlock was shocked. "Sir, the Council's orders." "The Council isn't here," Vekthar said. "We are. And we need the humans' knowledge of these oceans if any of us are going to survive." Back on the Bellerophon, Alan and Relker worked together, combining human oceanography with Xeraxian technology. They studied the recordings of the Leviathan's bioluminescent patterns. "Look at this," Alan said, pointing to a sequence of flashing lights on the creature's skin. "It's communication. They're talking to each other." "Similar to our own deep space signaling," Relker agreed, "but using light instead of radio waves." "If we could decode it," Kate suggested, "maybe we could communicate with them, or disrupt their coordination." Sam added. The submarine shook again, harder this time. A warning alarm blared. "Hull breach in Section 4. The intercom announced. Emergency seals activated. Through the viewport, they saw a massive tentacle wrap around the front of the submarine. An eye the size of a car tire peered in at them. The Leviathan was no longer testing. It was attacking. "We need to get to the surface," the captain ordered. "We'll never make it," Relker said. "Not with that thing attached to us." Just as hope seemed lost, a powerful sound wave hit the submarine. The humans clutched their ears in pain despite being inside the hull. The Leviathan released its grip, recoiling as if in agony. A Xeraxian ship appeared, firing pulses of energy that weren't aimed to kill, but to repel. "Vekthar," Relker said with surprise. "He's using a sonic disruptor. It affects their nervous systems." The Leviathan retreated, joined by others of its kind. They formed a defensive circle, their bioluminescent patterns flashing rapidly. "They're planning something," Kate said. The radio came to life with Commander Vekthar's voice. "Human vessel, this is Commander Vekthar of the Xeraxian Empire. We offer temporary alliance against common threat. Please respond." As the captain reached for the radio, Alan studied the Leviathan's patterns with growing concern. "Wait," he said. "I don't think they're planning an attack. I think they're calling for help." In the deep darkness beyond their lights, something even larger began to move. The U.S. Bellerophon and the Xeraxian ship hung side by side in the dark water. On the submarine's bridge, Commander Vecthar stood face to face with Captain Harris. Despite their differences, both leaders understood the gravity of their situation. "Your sonic disruptor," Captain Harris said. "Can it be modified to work on a larger scale?" Vecthar nodded. "Yes, but we would need to increase its power. Our ship's energy reserves are low after the battle." "The submarine has nuclear power," Kate suggested. "Could we connect them somehow?" Alan and Relker had been studying the bioluminescent patterns of the Leviathans. Alan pointed to his computer screen. "Look at this." The patterns changed right before the larger creature appeared. "A warning call," Relker said, "or a distress signal." Sam had been monitoring the sonar. Whatever they called is massive. The sonar can't even capture its full size. The captain made his decision. "We need to retreat to a safer depth and regroup. We'll take the Ziraxians aboard and—" A powerful force hit both vessels, sending them tumbling through the water. The lights flickered as emergency systems activated. "What was that?" Kate asked, picking herself up from the floor. The sonar operator's voice shook. "Sir, it's moving beneath us. It's larger than anything I've ever seen." Through the viewport, they caught glimpses of something ancient and terrifying. It had the basic shape of a squid, but was covered in what looked like armor plating. Its tentacles were thick as trees and ended in claw-like appendages, but most disturbing were its eyes, dozens of them, glowing with an intelligence that seemed impossibly old. "The Alpha Leviathan," Vecthar whispered. The creature moved with surprising grace for its size. It herded the smaller Leviathans like a shepherd with a flock, directing them away from the human and alien vessels. "It's not attacking us," Alan realized. "It's protecting them from us." Captain Harris ordered both vessels to maintain position. "Let's not provoke it." "Too late for that," Relker said. "We invaded its territory. We hunted its kind." The Alpha Leviathan circled them once more, then began to descend deeper into the trench. The smaller Leviathans followed. "They're retreating," Sam said with relief. But Alan shook his head. "No, they're leading us somewhere. Look at the pattern of their lights. It's a repeated sequence, like an invitation. Or a trap." Captain Drenlock growled. Commander Vecthar studied the creatures. "We came to this planet seeking knowledge. Perhaps this is our chance to gain it." After a tense discussion, both human and Ziraxian leaders agreed to follow the Leviathans deeper, but with weapons ready. As they descended, the ocean floor opened up into a vast underwater canyon that didn't appear on any human charts. The walls of the canyon glowed with bioluminescent organisms, lighting the way like runway lights. "This is impossible," Sam said. "How could we have missed something this large?" "It was hidden," Relker suggested, perhaps deliberately. At the bottom of the canyon, they found something that challenged everything humans and Ziraxians thought they knew about Earth. Stone structures rose from the ocean floor, not natural formations, but buildings and monuments covered in strange symbols that resembled both ancient human writing and Ziraxian script. "An underwater civilization," Kate whispered. The Alpha Leviathan settled in the center of the structures, its tentacles spreading out to touch the buildings. As it did, the symbols began to glow with the same bioluminescent light as the creature's skin patterns. "It's connecting with the city somehow," Alan said. Through the submarine's external speakers, they began to hear a low, mournful sound, like whale song but more complex, more deliberate. "It's trying to communicate," Relker said. Vecthar turned to the humans. "Your species has lived alongside these oceans for thousands of years. Have you encountered anything like this before?" Captain Harris shook his head. "Legends, myths, stories of ancient beings in the deep. Nothing confirmed. Until now," Kate added. As they watched, the buildings began to shift and change, as if waking from a long sleep. More sea creatures gathered around them, not just Leviathans, but species from every depth of the ocean, forming a living shield around the ancient city. We need to understand what they want, Alan said. No, Vecthar replied. We need to understand what we've done. This is their world. We are the invaders. 3 days later, a strange gathering took place aboard the oceanographic vessel Challenger Deep. Humans and Xeraxians sat together around a table covered with maps, data charts, and strange devices from both worlds. Alan Murphy pointed to a 3D projection of the underwater city. We've translated about 30% of the symbols. They tell a story of an ancient race that lived on Earth long before humans. They went extinct, asked Captain Harris. No, Kate Johnson said. They didn't die out. They evolved. The Leviathans are their descendants. Commander Vecthar leaned forward. You're saying these creatures were once a civilization. A civilization far more advanced than either of ours, Relker confirmed. But they chose a different path. Instead of conquering nature, they adapted to it. They became one with the ocean. Sam Baker had been analyzing tissue samples collected from near the city. Their DNA shows signs of both natural evolution and deliberate engineering. They'd redesigned themselves over thousands of generations. Greg Peterson and Lisa Wright had joined them from the Northern Star, bringing valuable data about how the ocean's surface had returned to normal once the humans and Xeraxians stopped attacking the Leviathans. The smaller ones act as guardians, Lisa explained. They patrol the ocean, keeping the balance. The Alpha is like their leader, their connection to their past civilization. Vecthar received a message from the Imperial Council. They were sending a fleet to Earth, intending to claim the planet by force. The commander looked at the humans who had worked alongside him, sharing knowledge and risking their lives. He made his decision. My people are coming, he announced. They will not understand what we have learned. They will see only a planet to conquer. The room fell silent. Then Kate spoke. We need to show them what we found. Make them understand. The Leviathans can help, Alan suggested, if we could communicate with them properly. I think I can help with that, Sam said. He had been working with Relicure on a modified version of the sonic disruptor. We've turned it from a weapon into a communication device. It mimics their sound patterns. They took the device to the edge of the ancient city. The Alpha Leviathan approached, cautious but curious. Sam activated the device, which emitted a series of low, complex tones. The Alpha responded, its skin flashing with bioluminescent patterns. More Leviathans gathered around it. We're asking for their help, Sam explained to the others, explaining that more aliens are coming who might not understand. The Alpha's patterns changed. The water around them vibrated with sound. I think that's a yes, Alan said. When the Xeraxian fleet arrived a week later, they found an astonishing sight. Thousands of Leviathans had gathered on the ocean's surface, forming patterns visible from space. The Alpha floated in the center, its massive body glowing with symbols that matched those of the ancient city. The Imperial Council's flagship received a transmission, a joint broadcast from Commander Vecthar and Captain Harris, standing side by side. This planet is under the protection of both its native species, Vecthar declared, the humans above the water, and the Leviathans below. We have formed an alliance. The Imperial Council was furious, but as their ships approached Earth, they encountered something unprecedented. The oceans themselves seemed to rise up against them. Massive waves threatened to swamp their landing craft. Sea creatures gathered in the thousands, responding to the Leviathan's call. After several failed landing attempts, the Council agreed to negotiations. 3 months later, Earth was designated as a protected zone under a historic treaty. The Xeraxian Empire recognized both humans and Leviathans as sovereign species. A joint research station was established at the edge of the ancient city, where scientists from both worlds could learn from the ocean's secrets. Greg Peterson became the station's first human director, with Commander Vecthar as his Xeraxian counterpart. Kate Johnson led the diplomatic team, while Alan Murphy and Sam Baker worked with Relicure on communications with the Leviathans. As for the Alpha, it returned to the depths, but occasionally visited the station, bringing new knowledge from the ancient world below. The Xerexian Empire added a new classification to their planetary database. Class 0. Ocean World. Approach with respect and caution.